Can you believe that more than 4,500 years ago, a civilization with no modern technology built colossal structures that still stand today? The latest discoveries and breakthroughs give us a glimpse into how they were constructed. What are these new discoveries that may completely change our perspective on how these pyramids were constructed? How did they manage to create the Great Pyramid, an architectural marvel that baffles experts to this day? Join us as we embark on a journey to unravel the mysteries of the pyramids of Giza. Let's dive into the discoveries, incredible stories, secrets, and the enduring legacy of these iconic monuments. It can be a daunting task to avoid comparing oneself to those who serve as an inspiration. In an era where it seemed as if every conceivable idea has been explored, it's challenging not to regard some of history's most notable figures with awe. However, upon meticulous scrutiny, it becomes apparent that these illustrious individuals are far more accessible than one might initially perceive. Consider, for instance, the pyramids. It's fascinating to think that an architectural methodology conceived 4,500 years ago still holds relevance for contemporary inventors, builders, and manufacturers. However, unlike other mega projects that we cover on this channel, these are completely unique. We truly have no idea about the budget behind this architectural marvel and little to no details about how these pyramids were actually built. Something that stumps architects and archaeologists to this very day. Let's delve into some context to truly appreciate the grandeur of this edifice. The pyramid held the title of the largest anthropogenic structure for almost 4,000 years, standing impressively at a height of 479 feet. It's estimated that approximately 2 million stone blocks were utilized in the construction of the Great Pyramid. This is a staggering accomplishment, particularly considering the limited technological advancements of the era. The question that naturally arises is, how did they achieve such a monumental task? With every innovation, there lies a degree of experimentation and failure. This is an inherent part of the human process. The methodologies employed in the creation of these exceptionally labor-intensive structures were honed over centuries. Much like contemporary engineers, the architects of the past encountered numerous challenges and setbacks. The genesis of this pyramid can be traced back to the simple rectangular mastaba tombs that were prevalent in Egypt circa 5,000 years ago. As per the report on pyramid building techniques by Live Science, the first significant evolution occurred during the reign of Pharaoh Djoser in 2630 BC. The design of this structure is credited to Imhotep, a vizier who transformed the original rectangular form into a 6-layered pyramid, standing 197 feet high, with an intricate network of tunnels beneath. The next breakthrough in pyramid construction transpired under the rule of Snefru in 2575 BC, who pioneered the construction of smooth-faced or true pyramids, diverging from the step pyramids previously made. The pyramids we envision today are impeccably flawless and formidable structures. However, even the greatest inventors, including the Egyptians, had their fair share of errors. During Snefru's tenure, 3 pyramids were built, one of which is presently known as the Bent Pyramid due to the change in angle partway up, giving it a distinct bent appearance. The process of creation can often be a path of continuous learning through perceived failures. It is heartening to note that even the illustrious Egyptians made errors and learned from their missteps. Snefru, for example, rectified the design flaw found in his initial pyramid in his subsequent constructions. He passed this acquired knowledge to his son, Khufu, who later supervised the development of the renowned Great Pyramid. The success of any architectural masterpiece lies in its foundation, which in the case of the Egyptians hinged on the specific metals and stones utilized in the construction process. The exteriors of the pyramids in Giza were built using a coarse yellow limestone. The selection of construction sites was influenced by the locations where prehistoric oceans had deposited the most substantial amount of this material. The builders would excavate channels and extract the blocks directly from the ground, with the block size determined by the natural thickness of the limestone layers. The process became more complex due to the limited availability of metals for tools. The Egyptians only had access to copper and relatively soft metal. However, displaying their innovative spirit, the Egyptians discovered that they could cut through the limestone using their copper tools if they used sand or powdered rock as an abrasive. The internal structures of the pyramids were meticulously assembled using granite, a notably durable rock due to its quartz content. This stage of construction was undoubtedly the most labor-intensive, had to manually chisel the granite using dolerite hammerstones. To provide context for the magnitude of this task, recent studies suggest that the builders could only advance approximately 5 millimeters per hour. This translates to a full day of repetitive, strenuous labor to chisel a mere few centimeters. In contemporary times, where patience is tested by waiting for an office printer to warm up, it's astounding to consider the Egyptians' commitment to laboring entire days by simply striking one rock against another. Upon completion, the pyramids were adorned with a layer of white limestone. This layer has since eroded, resulting in the familiar sandy brown appearance of today's pyramids. However, in their prime, this limestone coating would have rendered the pyramids a brilliant white hue. It is hypothesized that the apex of the pyramid may have been adorned with electrum, an alloy of gold and silver. However, as with all things, time has left its mark. Regrettably, for the Egyptians, the advent of the wheel, despite predating their civilization, did not permeate their society. This technological development would have undoubtedly simplified their tasks, but the Egyptians ingeniously devised alternative methods to transport these colossal stone masses. Let's examine the exterior rock, limestone. There exist ancient illustrations depicting Egyptians transporting monumental structures using sleds dragged across the sand. While this may seem laborious and inefficient, a 2014 study conducted by the University of Amsterdam shed light on a method that made this labor more feasible. The researchers discovered that sand, when moistened with the right amount of water, acquires a slick property which facilitates the movement of objects with decreased manpower. This ingenious and resourceful technique reduced their required pulling force by half. Transporting the granite proved even more challenging. However, researchers have found records of boats that could have been employed to float the stones down the Nile when it flooded into channels. It's fair to say that an individual in today's society would find it difficult to fathom this level of strenuous labor and commitment. The mere act of reading about this process may induce a sense of exhaustion. And this is not the end. Once the materials arrived at the site, the daunting task of positioning the stones was still to be accomplished. The consensus among historians is that the ancient Egyptians utilized some form of ramp system to transport the stones to their designated locations on the pyramids. The nature of these ramps present a mystery, and this idea of study is where the majority of conjecture lies, due to the lack of clear documentation regarding the ramp systems used. Engineer Craig Smith has conducted an in-depth analysis of potential ramp designs, calculating the number of stones that could be delivered using each model. His analysis suggests that the Egyptians likely employed a large, broad ramp near the base of the pyramid where the majority of the stones were required, complemented by smaller, spiral ramps near the top where fewer stones were needed. Once the stones were transported to their respective locations, they were maneuvered into place using wooden levers and round dolerite ball bearings, then shaped to fit perfectly. Furthermore, the successful completion of any major project necessitates a substantial and dedicated workforce. As per the program, It's Okay to be Smart, the construction of the Great Pyramid within a 23-year time frame would have required the equivalent of an Olympic swimming pool's worth of stone to be added every 8 days. This would necessitate an estimated workforce of 1,200 to 1,500 workers for the Great Pyramid alone. The construction of all 3 pyramids in Giza likely involved a total of approximately 10,000 workers. While it was long presumed that these workers were slaves, recent research by Egyptologists such as Mark Lenner suggest otherwise. Archaeological evidence has revealed the existence of large cities built to provide for the pyramid builders, bakeries, tool shops, and indications that the workers' families lived nearby. A study conducted in 2013 by Richard Retting, the principal research officer at ERA, revealed that sufficient cattle, sheep and goats were slaughtered daily to generate 4,000 pounds of meat, intended to nourish the workers constructing the pyramids. Redding posits that the workers' dietary provisions was likely superior to what they would have received in their respective villages. In addition to this, these workers were bestowed with the dignity of honourable burials, an act typically not extended to slaves. This recent evidence has led Egyptologists to reconsider the previously held assumption that the pyramids were built by slaves. Instead, it is now speculated that the workforce consisted of skilled labourers who were well compensated for their efforts. The parallels between the architectural processes employed over 4,000 years ago and those of contemporary construction and manufacturing are striking. Despite the vast differences in tools and means, the fundamental elements remain the same: materials, transportation, labor, and knowledge. For contemporary creators who may experience moments of doubt or discouragement, understanding the challenges faced by the architects of the past can provide a comforting perspective. Who knows, perhaps you're on the path to constructing the next monumental achievement. Would you ever visit the Great Pyramids of Giza? Let us know down below in the comments section. If you found this video intriguing and want to delve deeper into the future of construction, be sure to subscribe to the Uber Build.